Another day, another dollar in this beautiful world we call truck driving. Now, today is payroll Friday. I'm going to look at two settlements, one from a 1099 driver and one from a W-2 driver. Both of them company drivers. One is on 1099, one is on W-2. I'm not sure if the driver on 1099 is working for the Russians, simply because there's no deductions in his check and it doesn't look like he's running illegal. But let's take a look. Let's start with him first. I'm not gonna name the driver or the company, anything like that, because all that stuff is irrelevant. He gets 60 cents a mile. Now we know the Russians pay 60 cents a mile. I think the Bosnians and the people over in California pay 60 cents a mile, and people down there in Florida pay 60 cents a mile, 10.99. All right, let's see where all he been traveling to. Started up, let's see, New Jersey to South Carolina, 680 miles. South Carolina to West Virginia to Mississippi, and Mississippi to Alabama. Not too bad. 60 cents a mile, company driver. Something is really straightforward, to be honest with you. You do 60 cents a mile times all those miles. He did about 2,236 miles loaded, and then he had 253 miles empty. Total miles altogether, 2,489 miles. You times that by 60 cents a mile, and he grossed and netted $1,493.40. There ain't no deductions. There's no escrow. There's nothing. It's just straightforward check. Do I like the check? It seems easy because you don't have the deductions, you don't have the escrow. Really, the only thing I don't like about it, of course, you already know you can run more miles. Maybe, I don't know, because you had 2,500 miles. Yeah, you could have probably got an extra load and been at least at 3,000. If your company run 2 clocks, then you can stretch it even more, and you can be like some of these other drivers, 4,000 miles a week. Driver, don't stretch yourself. Don't. This is enough miles right here. You're doing great. The only thing I don't like about it though is they not paying your taxes. They not paying your taxes. That's the only thing I don't like about it. For $1,500. Because I only seen one check, so I'm just gonna assume that you make around anywhere between $1,300 to about $1,600 every week with this company. If I was netting that amount of money every week, I would just go W-2 with somebody that's gonna offer me the health insurance, the 401k, and everything else, and also pay my taxes, so you can be W-2, because after you take away taxes on this, I mean, you probably down $1,100, $1,200 or something like that, depending on what state you out of. So I feel like you're kind of taking a loss. You know what I mean? You're taking a loss. The only way I would continue at that company as if, like I said, you're gonna run illegal and push that 60 cent, close to 4,000 miles or something. If you can't do that, then I would recommend, unless you're happy. And if you're happy, stay right there and just stack the money. Maybe you got a plan to where you don't need to go W-2 right now. Maybe child support, alimony. Maybe you might be trying to run from something. I don't know. But if that ain't the case, take a look at this next driver over here over at Crete Carrier. He ran a little bit more miles than you. He on W-2 now. His check was kind of difficult to read. It took me a minute. I said, man, what is all this shoe shine on this check? I said, good God. This driver get 44 cents a mile. Now you get 60 cents a mile, he get 44 cents a mile, but they give him 16 cents a mile in per diem. Now per diem right now is about, I think the government raised that crap about what, 80 cents? 80 cents? So they got y'all down to 16 cents. Man, when I was at night transportation, we had the option to opt into the per diem or opt out of it. By you being W-2, you W-2. I don't think at the end of the year, because you're on W-2, I don't think at the end of the year, I'm not sure because I'm not a CPA, but I don't think you can claim per diem as a W-2 driver at the end, but I'm not too sure. So maybe it's best for them to do what they doing. You know, Crete would know better. Crete would know better. But what I was gonna say is, if you could opt out, and as a CPA, if you could opt out and claim a big amount in the end, then you're leaving money on the table. Well, tax deductions on the table at least. But you're doing great. You're doing great. You can just leave it just like how it is. Now this driver, 44 cents a mile, 16 cents per diem. He gets stop pay, which appears to be, I'm not too sure. Is it $15? He had 5 stops, 75. Okay, so $15 a stop. Get 5 days a year vacation. He is in the 401k program. It doesn't say if it match or not. It just says 401k. Hopefully Crete offers a match. I'm not too sure. It's okay if they don't though. As long as you got some type of retirement going, that's better than no retirement. Okay. It's better than, trust me, it's better than nothing. But if they don't offer a match, Crete should know better. Crete, you need to offer a match. I'm pretty sure they do. They better. They'll make a carrier. He's paying his taxes, federal, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. He's paying Mississippi state tax. Is that Mississippi? Mississippi? I thought they done away with the state tax. Didn't they just do away with the state tax down there? They did just do away with it, man. You paying Mississippi state income tax. Am I missing something? MS, that's Mississippi, right? Didn't they I thought they got away with the state income. You may want to check into that, man. I think you paying them too much money. $34 go back in your pocket. Okay, how many miles? 3,365 miles. See, already the Crete driver. Now we know he running legal. He at Crete. Crete ain't finna allow you to do nothing funny, other than maybe I don't know if these mega carriers still do it. Maybe you can do some personal convenience to get an hour or two up the road. That's about it. That's about it right there. And you start unplugging the clock, and your job is just a matter of days before they get rid of you. So we know he running legal. You're doing great on the miles. You're doing it legally, so you ain't worrying about nothing at the scale house. You ain't putting your CDL in danger. So that's great. And your taxes being paid. He's OTR, obviously. Let's see where he went to. And it's kind of hard to read because it's abbreviated. So it's looking like you was... I have no idea because it's abbreviated. Look like you went from Illinois to maybe Omaha, Nebraska. Came through Oklahoma. Look like you went down to Allen, Texas, and maybe back up to Oklahoma. It's hard to read that, so I'm not too sure. But whatever it was, 3,365 miles. Like I said, 44 cents a mile, and then 16 cents a mile is per diem. So his total gross, $2,127.68. Then after taxes, he took home $1,818. So right off the top, he beat the 1099 driver. And really, you beat a lot of 1099 drivers this week. You beat a lot of guys up there at the Russians. You beat a lot of them. Your taxes being paid. You got paperwork. You got 401k. You got 401k. Do they got health insurance? You got vacation. You don't got the insurance though. I'm pretty sure they should offer that. Maybe you got it, through a family member or maybe a wife or something. Or maybe you like Andrew, you just taking a risk, right? Right. What else? What else? What else? I think I covered everything on here. Would I have some advice for the Crete driver? Okay, only thing I would tell you to do is simply keep doing what you're doing. If you don't have a house, you got the paperwork. You just need 2 years tax returns. Stay with Crete for 2 years. Make sure you file them taxes. Yeah, your tax is easy because you W-2. If you need to get a CPA, get a CPA. There ain't no problem. You don't need no trucking CPA. You just need a CPA. Andrew, how do I find a CPA? Find one in the city you live in. One you can walk out the door and you can talk to them face to face. That's the CPA a lot of y'all need. You need one you can go pull up on. Now we got the CPAs that's also online and stuff. Ain't nothing wrong with them. But I'm saying, if you can't find a CPA, and find one where you live. That's the easiest way to do it. Get on Google Maps, CPA in my area. Just like finding insurance. Get in there. Now, if your goal ain't to own no house, then ain't nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying if it is though, stay with them 2 years, get your tax returns, get your house, even if you don't want to live in it, because you want to stay in a truck, rent it out, do whatever you gotta do. It ain't gotta be no $400,000 house. It ain't gotta be $300,000. It could be $100,000, $150,000, $200,000, $250,000, You ain't gotta be 30 years and all that. No, you ain't gotta do none of that stuff. Just something to live in. Or you could buy land. Some drivers buying land and they doing a mobile home thing. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay? If you got a lot of debt, driver, pay the debt off. Start paying the debt. The first debt I would pay off is the car note. If you got one of them car notes that's $600 a month, $1,000 a month for the next 60 months, drivers, you need to pay that off first. Damn the credit cards. You need to pay that off first. Cause that right there, them big notes right there, your credit card ain't gonna be that high. I think, man, to get a free, you gotta let me think. If you got a $600 car note, that's without insurance. I'm talking about just $600. In order to pay that as a minimum payment on a credit card, you need to be about the same as the car price, $30,000. So you need to be like $30,000 to pay, I'm assuming, $600 on the credit card. I'm assuming. Because $30,000 on the car be about $600? Might be more than that shit. Both ways are screwed, so yeah, both ways are screwed. That's why I don't wait, boy, that's hard on the truck driver. It'd be different if y'all was local and y'all was paying these car notes and y'all was, home every day. But OTR and car notes and, man, heck no. Heck no. As far as this 401k plan, that's good for retirement. The only thing that I probably would tell you to do is open up your own brokerage account, one that you control. You can go to Vanguard, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Robinhood. Speaking of Robinhood, we are patiently waiting right now for Robinhood to see if they finna get added into the S&P 500. We waiting on them to make the announcement. We was hoping it was supposed to be made today, but S&P ain't said nothing yet. Yeah, now I know Trucker Brown and Wild Beard, about 8 months ago, they went on a live feed together trying to convince you that Robinhood was fake and phony and a scam and all that nonsense. That's back when it was $34, by the way. Today, it's all the way up to $70. I know you could have tripled your money if you would just done the opposite. I still remember the live feed. They didn't take it down. I still remember it. Yeah, because I responded. I said something about it then. I said, man, this is insane. I was using Robinhood then. I said, they actually doing a live feed trying to convince truck drivers that Robinhood is a scam. And now, it's about to get added to the S&P 500. Funny. Funny how that works. Funny, do you think they're going to get together on another live feed and let you know that they were just playing? No, they're not. Okay, but anyways, you can use any brokerage account out there. Like I said, I will open up a brokerage and just simply start investing into a basic ETF or a mutual fund. None of this single stock crap unless you want to. If you want, roll the dice. I recommend ETFs. You can go on YouTube, find your ETFs. What are ETFs? Do your research. I'm not gonna tell you what to invest in, but as long as it's an account you got full control over, and you ain't gotta wait. Now you still gonna do your 401k, but that's good for when you get way out there in age. I'm talking about something you can control. You can put money in control for the next 5-10 years, before retirement. That's what I'm saying. You can put what you want in now. Usually that 401k, you only putting about, first of all, you only putting what, $94 in now a week? Get your own brokerage account. You can put whatever you want in there, $500 a week, $1,000 a week, the whole check in there a week. As far as the 1099 driver, brother, now, like I said, man, if you can do the miles, 4,000 miles running illegal, I'm not telling you, I wouldn't tell you to do. I'm just saying that's about the only way I will continue. Brother, that's about the only way I will continue, because 60 cents a mile, this don't look like no Russian company, because like I said, no escrow, no deductions. It's not bad. It ain't bad, because you do got it easy. You just got to run your miles and you ain't got to worry about nothing. You got it easy now. It's very easy for you to get your money. And everybody don't got to make $2,000. Like I said, there's really nothing wrong with $1,400. The only thing I don't like is they ain't paying your taxes. If they were paying your taxes, it'd be Gucci. It'd be Gucci, but I would give you the same advice though. If you try and get a house, you gotta pay taxes on this. You gotta pay taxes on this. 2 years tax returns. Okay, 2 years tax return. If you don't know how much you need to be sending Uncle Sam, 15.3%, and you'll be all right. Find you a CPA, but I don't like that position that you in, driver. I don't like it now. Now, if you like I said, the only way I would stay is if I was gonna push them 4,000-5,000 miles, but that's not something that I would recommend you do for a long term. Plus, wintertime, it's gonna slow down anyway. Man, I would just find a W-2 job, be honest with you. W-2 OTR, you see what the Crete driver is doing, so he in a way better position. So, unless you run it, there's gotta be a reason for you to doing this 1099. Hey, Andrew, I'm on child support, and or maybe they levying my bank accounts. I can't be W-2, so that's why I gotta do this. Maybe the SAP ain't really no excuse. You ain't applying for enough companies, so we ain't gonna take SAP for an excuse. But like I said, that don't look like no Russian company. Something to think about. Something to think about. But the Crete driver, you're doing real good. You're beating a lot of people out here. You just gotta keep it rolling, and think about opening up that brokerage account on the side that you control. Okay. Now that's all for this one, y'all. Y'all let us know in the comment section what do y'all suggest. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Next to the subscribe button is a notification bell. If you click the bell and press all, every time I go live, it will send an alert to your phone. I get back to y'all tomorrow.